Fellas, if y'all listening to me, not sure if you all figured this out by now. The more and more you argue with a woman, the stronger and stronger she gets. Women do not back down. I don't know what it is, but it definitely ain't they kryptonite trying to argue with them. Welcome everybody to our very first JAMCAST podcast.
Hi.
Thank you so much for everyone who is listening today. For those that do not know who we are, my name is Marcel.
And I'm Jamila.
And if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, Jamilah and Marcel, please make sure that you subscribe to our channels. And once again, our channel name is Jamilah and Marcel. Honey, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing well.
How was your day today?
Today was good. It was fun. We did some shopping. We ate out.
Yeah.
So that's always good.
It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Jamilah and I have been making more of an assertive effort to get out, especially because the pandemic kind of had us cooped up in the house for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really fun getting out today.
Mm-hmm.
But today's podcast is all about marriage. We've been married now since 2018.
Mm-hmm.
We got married in Miami, March 31st, 2018.
Beautiful day.
Beautiful day.
Perfect weather.
Perfect weather. 'Cause it was supposed to rain on our wedding day.
Mm-hmm.
And the weather wound up holding up. And Jamilah and I were inspired from our marriage to have our very first podcast about marriage. And today's topic is what I learned after marriage, going in versus our current state, which is all going to be focused around growth. Because when Jamilah and I first got married, looking back, we were really young. 22 years old I was. Jamilah was 23. And now...
Were we?
No, when we first met.
I was about to say,
Baby,
we got married that young?
We got married. No. When Jamilah and
I was like,
first
wait a
met,
minute.
My apologies. When Jamilah and I first met,
Yeah,
I was 22.
23.
You were 23.
Yeah, I was 23. No, I was 24.
24. You had just turned 24.
Duh.
In October.
You had just turned 23.
Yeah.
I was already 24. I was about to turn 25.
Oh, Lord. Right.
Like a month or two later. Yeah.
But now that we've been dating each other for almost 8 years now, been together for almost 8 years now, and I'm now 30. Honey, you just turned 32. So for recording purposes, happy belated birthday.
Thanks.
And I feel that we've grown a lot together, especially during our young adult life.
Right.
And now in our adulthood, I'm really proud of the unit that we've become. We have grown together, and we learned so much about ourselves through our marriage, our relationship, and we learned about each other more. So in today's podcast, I would like for us to both share 3 areas of growth, all centered around what I learned after marriage. So, honey, what are 3 things or 3 topics that you would like to discuss?
Before we do that, can I ask you, how are you feeling? Like, how you feeling? How was your day? You asked me, how's your day?
My day is cool. I felt really good. I was happy to get outside today. The weather was beautiful. And
It got cold at the end.
It did get cold at the end. I was really happy to get out because I know the cold weather is coming up.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I don't really like the winter months.
Right. So my 3, Marcel asked us, so this is all Marcel, y'all. He was over the making of this first podcast. So he asked me to come up with 3 main things that I have learned since we got married. And my 3 include patience, self-reflection, and organization.
I like that.
So with patience, I feel like I have learned, like I've always been patient. And my mom even used to fuss at me about being so patient. Like I don't mind waiting in lines. I'm just good. But when I got married, it taught me like extreme patience. Like we are 2 different people from 2 different backgrounds, 2 different mindsets. And when you're married to someone and when you love them, you can't just be impatient. You can't just throw in the towel. You can't just give up on them. And I feel like Marcel personally has just taught me, baby, we gotta work this out. We gotta be patient with each other, and we gotta continue letting the love flow.
Right.
With self-reflection, a lot of times, piggybacking on what I just said, as far as like learning from just us being so different, I feel like most of the times we're raised to think, okay, it's my way. My way of thinking is the only way to think. But being married has taught me that I need to self-reflect on me. I am not perfect. I do have things I can work on. I do have things I need to improve upon. I do have things I need to change.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's necessary for growth, I feel. And then for organization, oh my gosh. I really just personally love organizing and being organized, but with marriage and like having a home and having a husband, I feel like organization is super important. Even though I'm not as organized as I'd like to be,
Right.
I feel like the marriage has taught me the importance of it. Okay, what's our plan for the day? What's our plan for the week? What's our plan for the weekend?
Right.
What's our plan for YouTube, for the podcast? So, I mean, I've really tapped into my organization skills since being married.
Yeah. I think patience is key, not only with marriage, but being in a relationship, period. Because like you said, when you're dating someone or you're married to someone, and they come from a different background, that means they're going to have a different ideology or approach of how they view things. And sometimes those thoughts and ideas can clash, which it has in our relationship. And we've had to come to common grounds and have conversations to say, hey, this is my viewpoint. This is your viewpoint. Where can we meet in the middle?
Meet in the middle.
But that patience level allows for healthy communication to take place. Because I feel like without patience, you don't even have that conversation. And I feel like a lot of times in the early stages, patience is what causes a lot of good relationships to fall and not continue.
The lack of patience.
Yeah, the lack of patience.
When you said, what did you just say? You just said meeting in the middle. Do you feel, I don't know do you feel like we always meet in the middle, or do sometimes we have to, I just have to let you do you, and I just have to let you win, or you have to let me win. Not all the times are we going to meet in the middle.
But that's an expert level of patience when you can say, you know what, I'm just going to let you have this one for today. Is it
expert? I feel like that's what we do most of the time.
I feel like that's an advanced level of patience, because your patience level is so advanced that you say, you know what, I'm not even going to talk to you. I'm not going to bother you about this. Go ahead and do your thing. And I'm just going to do mine.
I feel like we're just now tapping into that. I feel like early on,
experts in it. Patience.
I feel like for me, most of the times I am like, oh, he left a sock there. Let me pick it up. If I leave something where Marcel doesn't like, he'll be like, Jamila, why?
Yeah. My patience struggle is if I just clean something.
Oh my gosh.
Like yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
Jamila, I had just cleaned the kitchen. I had the stove in particular. I had took the grates off. I wiped it down.
Deep
with
clean.
Deep clean. Look, degreaser type cleaning. And then 5 minutes later, honey come downstairs.
Cooks some bacon.
I'm hungry. Cooks bacon, cooks eggs, splattered everywhere. And honey's like, oh well.
Yeah, I mean.
But not in a bad way. But I'm still trying to get to that level to where I understand that things are going to, even if you clean them, they're going to get back dirty.
Yeah, that's what I tried. That's what I had to tell Marcel yesterday, because it's like, I clean the stove all the time. I clean the countertops all the time. I do a lot of cleaning all the time. But if you come in and you need to cook, life goes on. Life continues.
Right.
So that's that patience.
Right. But
important.
It is important. But your organization, I feel like you're really organized. You're definitely the organizer between the two of us. And that's just a special gift that you have, because I'm more of a wing it kind of person, or just try to mentally organize things in my head. But you literally have schedules on schedules on schedules and
to-do lists and calendars and notebooks.
That's just going to organize every single thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
And self-reflection is really key, because I feel like without self-reflection,
can't grow.
You can't. That's exactly what I was about to say. You can't grow. You as an individual and your relationship's not going to be able to grow, because if you're not learning from mistakes or optimizing on things that you're doing great in the marriage or the relationship or even in the friendship, that it's not going to prosper. It's not going to continue growing.
And with the self-reflection, I just thought about it too. Is like, at the end of the day, if you married somebody, if they have if they bring something to you, it's for valid reasons. Even if you don't disagree, even if you disagree, you gotta self-reflect, because at the end of the day, what they're saying matters, and what they're saying has some truth to it.
Yeah.
So you may not agree in the moment, but I feel like a lot of times if we disagree in the moment, I think I self-reflect and I'm like, you know what? Marcel has a point. I was wrong in that moment. So, sorry.
No, that's really cool. Huh? I like the 3 topics that you discussed: patience,
Thanks.
self-reflection, and organization.
Thank you.
I feel like it's essential for any type of relationship, no matter what level it is,
Yeah.
to grow and to prosper. My 3 that I have on my list is empathy, trust, and responsibility. So to start with my first one, with empathy, I'm not necessarily even talking about myself. I'm mainly talking about you. And I didn't realize before I met you in our relationship how empathetic someone could be. I felt like I never experienced that on any level, any friendship, any family friendship. I just never seen how selfless and caring someone could be. And I think I've had this conversation with you before, but that's the thing that attracted me the most to you. Kind of when we first met and I was kind of straddling the fence. Should I pursue Jamila? Should I not? If you're subscribed to our Jamilah and Marcel channel, you may have heard this story before, but if you're a first-time listener on JAMCAST or you're recently subscribed to our channel, I'll go ahead and re-explain the story. But as mentioned earlier and previously, Jamilah and I met at Georgia State grad school, both trying to become teachers. And in attempting to become teachers, we had a 1-year program. And in this 1-year program, the schedule was really, really tight on when classes were going to be offered. And in the fall term, I had an issue registering for a particular class that's only offered in the fall. So meaning that if I did not take this class in the fall, I would have had to take it the following year, which would delay me in graduating and becoming eventually employed. And I couldn't register for the class, and I expressed my concern to Jamilah, and we had a conversation the very next day. Jamilah called me and said, "Hey, Marcel, I called the registrar's office. This is what they told me. This is what you have to do, and it should fix your problem." And to me,
I'm listening to this story like it didn't happen with me.
right. And when you did that, I was like, dang. I was like, that was very thoughtful for you to just go out your way, because it didn't impact you anyway directly. You don't benefit from that directly. And I just felt that was really, really thoughtful of you doing that. And that was the very first time I said, you know what, I'm going to pursue this girl. And there was a second story that I want to talk about, and this is what happens to deal with the time that Jamilah and I got to talk about again the state that Jamilah and I were in when we was at Georgia State grad school students, the whole poor college student type story. And at the time, I was working at a rec center making $8.79 per hour. I was overworked. Should have been paid more, but it is what it is. And every 2 weeks I got paid. My paycheck may have been like $400. And as a grad school student, that, depending on your situation, that could be a lot of money or not a lot. But out of that, I had a $300 car note. I had a phone bill that at the time, 'cause I was living with my mom, I helped contribute to the house by paying my brother's phone bill, my phone bill, and her phone bill. And that came up to like $200 odd. So my checks were eaten up by the bills. And it was one particular time I was really low on cash. I was stressed out. And Jamilah and I, during our dating phase, we had gotten into some level of disagreement. And I was like really upset with you. And I think I had wound up leaving. But on my way out, leaving from your apartment in Atlanta, you had snuck something in my back seat. And you told me, don't look at it until I got home. And I had drove all the way home, forgot about it. And I called you, or you called me just to let you know I was home, or you were checking on me. And you said, go ahead and look at what I put in the back seat, and I'll talk with you later. And when I opened it up, it was a card that had some really nice words in there. And inside of it was $60.
Aww.
And for me, that was really touching on receiving that from you, because again, it was empathy. You didn't have to do that, but you understood my struggle and the stresses that I was going through at that time. And you pretty much put gas in my car. I remember I started crying when I was in the car.
Oh, yeah, I remember you said that.
I started crying because I was at a point where I was very stressed out, and for you to do that for me. And I don't even know if we were like boyfriend, girlfriend. We might have just declared ourselves exclusive.
Baby. Oh, Marcel made me wait a year or two before we made it official girlfriend, boyfriend. That needs to be a podcast.
in itself.
What you think you know about us that you don't really know. That's one
Exactly.
thing. But did that teach you? But do you feel like those situations have made you more empathetic? And if so,
does.
how?
It does, because you know the whole saying that the man of the house is supposed to lead by example, but I feel like there are many things that you do as well that you lead by example, and I feel that you are empathetic in many of your ways. So for me, second nature, it just inspires me to do things or to not necessarily put myself first in many situations. And I can't.
So you feel like it has made you become less selfish or more selfless?
Right, because when we first met, you used to tell me all the time I was a very selfish person. And
I think you used to admit to it too.
Yeah, I'm not perfect in the empathy area, but it is something that I strive to be better in.
You feel like you've improved.
Right. And kind of going back to a conversation that you just brought, saying how it needs to be a whole podcast separately, that brings me to my second point, which is trust. And Jamila and I had this conversation, but we never shared this with Jam Fam or even first time here on the podcast. But when Jamila and I first met, like, my trust was broken.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like, metaphorically, I was coming from like a very dark place from my previous relationship and all the stuff that I was going through at that time with not getting into, PT school not working out. I was like in a really, really dark place.
And you had just lost your dog.
And my dog Zeus had just died. The summer that Jamila and I had met, I love Zeus. And I feel that through our relationship, through love, our deep friendship, I eventually learned how to trust again. And I feel that it wasn't an easy process. And it took over a year for me to even ask you to be my girlfriend.
Because of trust. You know what we did used to talk about that. And now that I think about it, when we used to talk, like when we were just talking on the phone, both of us had those conversations, and both of us had like really bad previous relationships. Not bad relationships, but like the ending was kind of bad. So
and it broke my trust.
Yeah.
And we used to joke with each other all the time, because it was like a real common social media saying, is he or she the one, or is he or she the distraction?
Right.
And we used to joke with each other all the time, but like,
oh no, are you the one, or are you just a distraction?
Yo, the day before grad school started, I had a level of intuition. I'm not sure if you're very religious, but I felt like God was telling me, you're going to meet your wife at grad school. And I prayed about it. And I'm not going to lie to you. When I went to grad school, and Jamil knows the story, every single girl that walked into my first class, our cohort, I looked at this girl, I was like, that's not my wife. That's not my wife.
Oh, yeah, you told me that recently. I didn't know that until like a few months ago.
And you know what's crazy? After the whole class was full, I was like, nah, maybe she ain't in here. She probably in another class. And Jamila, always late. Jamila came in the class, and she was the last person in the room. And I looked at her, I looked at you, and I said, that's my wife. I swear on everything, I said that. And Jamila just walked clean across the room. She sat in the corner, super ducked off.
Away from everybody.
Nobody talked to me.
Like, so anti.
Very anti. And Jamila sat down at the window. I was just staring at her the whole time. And Jamila had turned around and looked at me. And I tried to quickly turn around and look away. And I remember you saying you looked.
Yeah, so I was like, what are you looking at?
Like, why is this boy staring at me? But that was really cool. Yeah. That whole moment there. And I'm really happy that we met.
So over time, your trust.
Yeah. Like, I super trust you, and I feel like in a relationship, trust is so securing, but it's so vulnerable at the same time. Because I feel like trust can be easily broken, but that's why
But it takes a lot to build.
But it takes just like that.
Yeah, it takes a lot to build up that trust. Like, when you first start off, can I trust this person?
Right.
When am I gonna see them again? Are they talking to somebody else right now? Why they not on the phone with me?
Right.
But over time, once that trust is built,
yeah, because even when we were not even in our exclusive stage, where we would just still kind of get to know each other, Jamila had posted this one picture on Instagram, And y'all, she looked so good. I was like, damn, like she ain't never looked that good for me yet. Cause we only had been out like maybe on like one date.
Yeah.
And it was somebody.
Baby, I don't even know if we had been on a date yet.
We might not have been on
Nah,
a date
cause
yet.
we went on a date like the first time, like that next day we talked. You know, I mean the next day after our first phone conversation.
So we may have been on the date.
One date.
But man, Jamila had on this white dress. She looked super pretty.
It was black.
Was it black?
And it was a skirt set.
You look good in it. Whatever it was.
You talk about when I was standing outside and you felt like I
real.
had went out with somebody else.
I was like, damn, like that girl just went out on a date with somebody else. I was like, dang. I was like, okay. I was like, all right.
You thought I went out on
Yeah.
the date.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I guess we ain't on.
I know we not talking about dates.
I know.
And going out on dates.
Y'all, I had.
We're gonna say that. We're gonna say that. Next podcast, we're gonna learn about incidences
that could have destroyed Jamilah and Marcel. So to make sure that if you want to hear that story, that you all go ahead and subscribe to JAMCAST on whatever platform that you're listening to us on, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, or if you are seeing us, the video version of this on Jamilah and Marcel YouTube. Make sure that you all subscribe so you can hear that story on another day. But my third and final topic is responsibility. And I feel that topic is mainly just being, like, as a man, the responsibility of a man, my role in our household, and how I ultimately control the temperature of the house. And what I mean by that is...
You're the thermometer.
Thermometer, right, exactly. However I go is how we go. How I respond or how I react to any given circumstance, because we're going to have disagreements, but the way that I respond is going to dictate how the rest of the conversation is going to go.
Move forward.
You know, because when we first got married and when we went to my cousin Morgan's wedding, Uncle Ron was like, made a joke with Alex and would say, from now on, it's just yes, dear. And you hear a lot of men saying that. And I was at a younger stage. I was like, I ain't about to say no, yes, dear.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Marcel
gonna
like, oh no, ain't no yes, dear.
It's either I'm right or I'm wrong.
Or I'm gonna be right later.
I'm gonna be right later. And one thing, fellas, if y'all listening to me, not sure if you all figured this out by now. The more and more you argue with a woman, the stronger and stronger she gets. Women do not back down. I don't know what it is, but it definitely ain't they kryptonite trying to argue with them. The more and more you argue with them, the more and more they are going to fight, and they're gonna start throwing low blows that you ain't gonna be able to counter, and it's gonna be a fight. So don't go back and forth with your lady, because you're not gonna win that. You're not gonna win it. And here's the crazy thing: even if you do win it, you ain't gonna know. Because they're not going to let you know that you're right. They're not going to let you know that you're right.
I come back and I be like, honey, tell the truth.
Sometimes.
Do I come back sometimes and like
say,
yes. Okay.
Sometimes, yes. But
in the moment, you ain't winning.
Oh, no. I'm taking L's left and right, top and bottom.
No, it be like back and forth, but I be having to end you. Like on Mortal Kombat, what they say?
Finish him.
And
guess what happened when she finished me? Flawless victory. Landed no hits. She landed all the hits. But ultimately, honey, what I mean by responsibility is how I need to support you in different times of need. Mainly focusing around emotional support. If something needs to be done, something needs to be fixed, attended to in the house, I need to learn my responsibility to that as well. And what I'm basically saying is, like, I had to learn the responsibility of being a man of the house, because growing up as a single parent in a single parent household, shout out to my mom and everything that she did, and shout out to my dad for everything he did and contributed to my life as well. But
he wasn't an absentee.
Exactly, he was not an absentee. So I know that Jam Fam has not met my dad, but my dad is an awesome dude. My mom's an awesome woman.
Oh, we can do it like a parent. Maybe something.
Yeah. One time, make sure y'all subscribe. We can try to get that in.
Positive parent.
Exactly.
Podcast.
Exactly. But no matter how much my dad contributed to the house, it was not the same of having that dad presence inside the house.
In the household.
And I felt like because I didn't have that dad example, or more or less a man of the house example, it wound up causing us to have a lot of uncomfortable conversations between you and I, where you would just say, Marcel, this is what you should be taking care of in the house, and these are my responsibilities. So,
like what?
So I feel that when we first moved in together in the townhouse, there were a few things or how I would respond in conflict or in when it would be like some type of confrontational conversation. I feel like I was responding more so out of emotion than I should have probably responded more to, kind of like being the thermometer in the room, and that's just one of them.
Are you talking about like turning on the car in the morning?
Yeah, like turn the car on in the morning. Even when we first dated, talking about the gas, pumping the gas conversation. I feel like I wasn't really as consistent on that.
Oh my gosh, it just reminded me. You didn't even like. Do I need to say this? Can I? You want me to tell you in your ear?
Nah, go ahead.
Marcel didn't even like holding the door. Like, he used to argue. He used to come at me and say, if you get to the door first, Jamila, you can open the door. You don't have to wait for me to open the door. That's what he told me, y'all. Yeah. When we first started dating, yeah, believe it or not, the love you see between us.
It was not always that.
It was not always that. The respect we have for each other, the love. Well, I mean, I can't say the love, but like, I don't know how to explain it, but we weren't who we are today.
Correct.
We're not. And we grew into these people. Right. But yeah, like certain stuff that I felt like I know that as a man, a guy, even with me being in a single minimum. Even with me being in a single parent home, there were things that I felt like, I wouldn't be this way if I would have had a father figure in the household telling me this and telling me to treat my husband this way and do this for my stuff like that.
And I feel like at the end of the day, what we've been learning by being together, both of us have been learning responsibilities, but responsibilities is also about balance. And I feel that a lot of times you really don't have that balance when it's just a single parent household, because it's just like one mind. Like, so for example, like with me and you, if I'm thinking one way and you're thinking the opposite, you may say, Marcel, rethink or reevaluate your thoughts a little bit.
Same for me. Like you have two minds, but you have two minds to bounce it off of, and you have two voices of reason.
Right.
Whereas, but at the end of the day, we can't fault
our own.
And then some situations it just has to be that way. Like it's better off single parent household.
And not even that. Sometimes it's not even based off upon like parents separating or just not working out. Sometimes you have parents who pass away.
Yeah.
And that's the card that you're forced to play.
Yeah.
So it's a touchy subject. But I enjoy the responsibility I've learned.
Yeah. Like
being with you, and kind of how our marriage and relationship has kind of reshaped my mind in the way that I think about things.
Yeah. So you feel like you're more empathetic, trusting, and responsible.
Exactly.
And I feel like, for me, the three things, like I said, I feel like I'm at like a 7. I'm not at a 10. I feel like I'm at between a 5 and a 7. And I feel like, we 8 years into our relationship.
Right. Yeah. Been together for a while.
Yeah.
Almost 10 years.
Yeah. So we got growth, but we've come very far. Right. We gotta tell we gotta tell you some of the stories, some of the things we've been through.
So many stories.
But
in closing, everyone has different goals when dating. Some people are looking for companionship. Some people do it for the status. Some people even do it for financial support. And sometimes it might be a combination of all three. For Jamila and I, we dated each other in a moment of uncertainty and trust, and other areas that we've listed that we've grown in. And due to this level of uncertainty, it took us many years to gain trust, which led to all items discussed in today's podcast. It was not an easy process. Despite how perfect we may present ourselves on YouTube or on Instagram, we had many growing pains that we used as an opportunity to grow instead of shrinking our relationship. And characteristically, as an individual, relationships are designed to be mutualistic, where both individuals are benefiting. The main benefit, ultimately, in my opinion, is finding the best friend who you can also call your soulmate. You my soulmate, honey.
I'm your soulmate.
Yeah.
You my soulmate.
But I don't think I can live without you, baby.
You don't think?
You know what? I'm sorry for using the word think, but I cannot live without you. I swear I can't. I cannot
I
live
don't
without
think
you.
I don't think I can do it.
I cannot live. Oh, I like that as a thumbnail. Put your arm. I like that arm back around me like that. You know. I like that.
But
Do you have any closing remarks, honey?
yes, thank you all so much for listening to us. This was very cool, honey. I like how you wanted us to start with the foundation of our marriage and what we've learned so far. It's cool to think back and when you gave me the assignment when you gave me did I understand the assignment?
You understood the assignment. And I appreciate you for your 3 topics, because your topics are really, they're vital for a relationship.
Yeah, but when you told me, okay, think of 3 things that you learned about marriage, I was like, wow. Mm-hmm. And so I had to take a little moment, and I'm like, what have I learned? And it was really cool to just think back and just see how much we've grown. So I'm excited for what this podcast has in store for our listeners. We're so happy that you guys have chosen to listen to us today. And when it comes to marriage, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is.
But it's a lot of, is it a lot of work? I don't know if I like when people marriage is a lot of work.
It's not.
Marriage?
It's not a lot of work, but this is what it is a lot of. It's a lot of patience. It's a lot of self-reflection. It's a lot of organization. It's a lot of empathy. It's a lot of trust. And it's a lot of responsibility. So if you want to consider all of that a lot of work, then yeah, it could be a lot of work. But I feel like at the end of the day,
especially if you're
working for what you want.
Yeah, when you said that made me think, especially for people, some people are so stuck in their ways. I don't know if you can, I don't know, relationships, friendships, and sometimes, we almost made this whole podcast about marriage and all things marriage, but everybody's not married. A lot of stuff we talk about, even today, you can do the same exercise in friendships with your family. All of this stuff is important. So
that kind of brings me to my next point.
Okay.
So as we close this thing out, once again, I would like to thank them too for listening to us. Before we leave today, Jamila and I do have a quick homework assignment.
Because we're teachers.
That's because, we're going to bring our teachers out. So we are teachers. And here is your homework assignment. And it's due in 2 weeks, because that's when we're going to release our next podcast.
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Okay.
So you got 2 weeks to get this assignment done. So, first assignment. Please subscribe to JAMCAST. Second assignment. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, our YouTube channel is Jamilah and Marcel.
JAMILAH.
And MARCEL.
Do you have a cadence to how you spell your name? If people ask you how to spell your name, you always say MARCEL. Is that how you say it?
No, you'd be like MARC. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. And I'd be like JAMILAH.
Gotta break it down. And second homework assignment that I want you all to just mentally think about, or just write down. If you're strongly considering marriage with the individual that you're currently dating, or in your current marriage, I just want you to do the same thing that Jamilah and I did. List 3 topics of areas of growth, or even if you're not in a relationship and you're aspiring to be in one, what are 3 areas of growth that you would like to see yourself complete before you get into the relationship? And I want you to just write those 3 things down, and don't be afraid to have that conversation with your significant other, because it's so many things that Jamilah and I talk about on a daily basis that I feel that keeps driving the engine of our marriage.
Guess what I just thought about?
What?
Just last week, 2 weeks ago, we had our family meeting at the beginning of October. And we did an exercise like this where we wrote down things that we feel like we're good at, or things that we want to see for ourselves and from each other. Areas of improvement.
Now, mind you, one area that we didn't list as growth was communication, because that has always been a strength of both Jamilah and I. Strength.
Okay.
Yeah, Jamilah and I, we love talking. I probably love talking more than Jamilah.
Marcel loves to talk.
Tell by this podcast, but
Marcel loves to talk.
Love talking.
And you want to know something? Remember what I said?
I love that you're a talker, because
that's one of the reasons why I wanted to date Marcel. Because look at me, got you. But that's one of the reasons why I wanted to date Marcel, y'all. Because am I a talker? I'm not really that much of a talker.
You're not really a talker. You're straight to the point.
I'm a listener. I love listening, but talking, ooh, child. But that's one thing I liked about you, honey.
Yeah. So communication might be on your list. So just because we didn't list it, don't be afraid to think about it. But other than that, we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yep. JAMCAST.
Right.
We'll be right back at y'all in 2 weeks. We hope that you've enjoyed.
We thank you all for listening. If you made it, especially if you made it all the way to the end.
Yes.
So this is Jamilah and Marcel, thanks for.
Oh, let's do.
What you want to do?
Say, be like, well, I was gonna be like, this is Jamilah,
and this is Marcel,
and we are JAMCAST.
Thanks for listening to our very first podcast, y'all. JAMCAST. Peace.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.